get into music?
I started playing when I was 15. I was a fan of music for pretty much like my whole life. And when I was like, I think 12, I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for my birthday. And that kind of opened a whole new world for me. It's how I discovered Bad Religion. And without that, I don't know if Panther Revival would even exist. But I first started playing when I was 15, and it was kind of funny because my friends were starting a band, like a band as people do when they're young, and they uh they needed a bass player. And like a lot of people with their first bands, the roles are more or less like assigned as opposed to based on what you can actually play. So they were like, "Hey, Kennedy, you ever thought about playing bass?" And I was like, "Oh, not really, but I'll ask my parents for one." And they got me one for Christmas that year. And that band never really did anything or went anywhere. We wrote like some terrible songs, never played a show. And then I had switched over to guitar and was playing either bass or guitar in just like various different bands growing up.
Word, word.
Follow me. I will meet you at the courthouse. Burn it down. Find the monsters who are writing back the years. These specters have names and addresses. Remember the faces of skeletons who brought us right back here.
How did Panther Revival first come about?
Panther Revival, it was an idea that I had in my head for like over a year before actually recording the our first release, which was the Protest Songs EP. And I want to say it was during the pandemic when I decided to like finally like pull the trigger on it, because Panther Revival was a band that I wanted to listen to, but that as far as I was aware, it just wasn't around. Just not the way that I wanted it to be. And at the time, the band was envisioned as a two-piece. I had just got done being in a four-piece band, and it was on a bit of a hiatus. And I wanted to have to work around less schedules, so it was just guitar and drums and me on vocals. And I recorded the songs for the Protest Songs EP and then showed them to the original drummer of the band, a guy named Colin. And I showed him to him without asking him to be in the band first. I just wanted to see if he liked it. I was like, "Hey, listen to this thing that I made." Showed him the 5 songs, and he fucked with it. Am I allowed to cuss on here? I'm sorry.
I don't give two shits.
Right on. He fucked with it, and so then I asked him if he wanted to be in the band, and he said yes. So we were doing that for a while as a two piece.
We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. We're not even safe in our death. They won't let us forget anything wrong that we did to justify the end we
The
had.
Protest Song EP. Let's talk about that. I really
Mhm.
dug that.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that it was. I was very surprised at the positive response to it. It's like people just sort of like, they listened to it and they got it. Like they sort of gravitated towards it a bit. And we still try to work songs from it into our live show most of the time. But it was just funny because like we recorded that at my house because I couldn't afford studio time, and that was just all I had available. So on my extremely, extremely crappy rig at home, recorded that here, and people just liked it. Like they didn't, it's like they didn't care that it sounded like shit. So it was really nice.
You'll never know just how quick things change at the end of a road. You'll never see it coming till our hands are gripping at your throat.
And then later that year, like a few months later, you put out Under the Palest Moon.
Yep, yep, absolutely. It was Under the Palest Moon is kind of like a companion piece to the Protest Songs EP. A lot of those songs were recorded like right around the same time. Several of the Palest Moon songs were recorded before the Protest Songs EP came out. And so they kind of just like work hand in hand. They were recorded on the same rig here at my house, and so they were always just sort of meant to be like companion pieces. And that was also me and Colin, the old drummer. And yeah, there's still several songs on there that I love. There's one in particular called Iscariot that still makes it into our set list at every show, mostly because my drummer Chris absolutely loves that fucking song. So and it's just a lot of fun to play now.
Word, word.
I'll make you wish you killed me, or better yet, that you went more. You weren't bred for war like this. Our children sound the battle
Took
horn.
a 2 year gap, but 2 years and 4 days later, you released your new album. It's fucking, which is bad at like it's when I first come across your band. I think it was Doomscroll had posted up, "Hey, check out this new album out." I fucking
Oh,
yeah, and I
I
and I
love
loved
them.
it. I loved it. I fucking loved that album. Tell me about that album, right? Because I mean, you even had like a 7 minute long fucking epic track on that shit.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I do love that song. Olodumare you're referring to. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's not English. But yeah, so we recorded that one in Arizona. We were able to actually go to a real studio for this one, recorded it in Lefevre's Audio in Phoenix, Arizona, with producer Matt Lefevre's. And that was a great experience. We actually recorded it the year after Palest Moon, but took a while to release because it was such a step up in recording and quality and everything. I felt like it deserved a bigger release, so I didn't want to do that thing that I always do with like all my other bands where I just like throw it up on Bandcamp immediately when I'm done, and then it gets like listened to a couple times and forgotten about. And I was like, this deserves a little bit more than that. So we shopped it around to different like indies and sent it to Punkerton Records. And Brandon, the head honcho over at Punkerton, he loved it. And we were like, hey, we have this album. It's already done. We're going to release it anyway. But if you would like to release it, we're interested in talking. So we ended up signing with Punkerton and then pushed the release to Juneteenth of last year. I want to say the date on like Spotify and stuff is slightly different for some reason, but we had dropped it on Juneteenth, and it was uh it was just really monumental for us because in signing to Punkerton, it was the first time that we were able to have vinyl. So that was really nice, which are available at our shows if anyone listening wants to see us and grab a vinyl. They come in five different colors. Uh, but that release was also interesting though because it was the last one with that was recorded when Colin was a member of the band, and but he ended up having to leave before the album came out. So uh, Chris Edwards and Sam Boatner, who used to be in a band called Forget Conformity, they ended up joining because after Colin left, I knew that I kind of wanted to expand the band into a three piece. Um, and I was actually looking for Sam because I knew that he could play bass from his time in Forget Conformity, but I didn't know Sam personally at the time. So I hit up Chris, who I did know. Chris was the vocalist, the lead vocalist of Forget Conformity. And I said, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of Sam. Can you like send him a message for me? And I explained the whole situation to Chris. And then Chris was like, yeah, absolutely. But I do play drums as well. And I was like, really? So I asked him to join. And he was like, well, let me try out first, make sure the vibes are right for you. But I just asked him to be in it. Like I didn't care because I already knew that I liked Chris as a person anyway. So I was like, fuck it, And thankfully, he can actually play. So, because it could have been a train wreck. Because I was just like, hey, I'm just want to like hang with my friends, but he actually can play, and I can't wait for folks to hear him on our next record, which we have already started recording. It'll be a while before it drops, but it's already completely written and demoed, and the drums have been recorded for it. So
Oh shit.
yeah, I'm
So
stoked.
This horror show is in full swing, so clutch your pearls and diamond rings. Do you feel safe? Feel in control? It's time to wake you from this dream. You're terrified that this feels
like
right.
playing with in a three piece now, like because it gives you a little more room to work as a guitar player.
Oh yeah, it is awesome because previously on the albums, I most of the time had the bass follow what the guitar was doing because that's what it was going to do live. The way my rig was set up, I would use an octave pedal to basically replicate the bass. And so now that I don't have to do that anymore, we're able to get more creative with the bass as far as writing and like what you're going to hear on the album. You can hear a bit of it on our song Day One that we just dropped on Inauguration Day. And we like we're able to do like more in the way of just like some really awesome like funky improvisation. I don't know if you listen to the Mars Volta, but they're a big influence on all the three of us. So there will be times at most of our shows where I'll just put my guitar down and go mosh with the crowd. And Sam is just playing the bass, Chris is on the drums, and they're just like keeping it going while I'm out there moshing with people. And it's just such a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Wake up! It's dying time again. The hour of terror, the minutes of sin. In silence, shoplifting air from the night. We can't afford to get it wrong this time.
I was gonna ask about that new single. It's on the Rock Against Trump release.
Yep, Rock Against Trump by Punkerton Records. They dropped that compilation, which I will fully take credit for that compilation because the day after the election, I called up Label Daddy Brandon and said, "Hey, we need to do this." And I was basically just like really annoying about it until he was like, "All right, I'll see what I can do." And now we have this badass comp out. And yeah, our song Day One is on there. We like the very day after the election happened, the very next day I wrote the song Day One. And after writing and demoing that, um I had hit up the boss man, Brandon, and just talked to him about it. It was like, hey, we want to put out this song. We want to do it on Inauguration Day, and then brought up the idea for the comp. So it was just really nice to be able to do that because it's like kind of our way of it. It's one of many ways of pushing back. Um, and all the proceeds from the Rock Against Trump compilation, if anyone's listening, they're the profits from the comp are being split amongst six different organizations. I trying my best to remember off the top of my head all of them. ACLU is one of them. Planned Parenthood is another. Punk Rock Saves Lives, Innocence Project, and there are two others that escape me right now. But it's just our way of pushing back.
Shit yeah. Shit yeah.
Pay attention to the plans they made. Pay attention to what's at stake. This clipboard plays a modern whip. Promote us fast towards the grave. Pay attention to the plans they made. Pay attention to what's at stake. This clipboard plays a modern whip. Promote us fast towards the grave.
Also, want to let folks know that we are going on a spring tour with Damn Celine and Violent Death, and we're going to be hitting Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and here at home in Texas, just basically while I'm on spring break from work. Um, but yeah, so we'll be doing that. And also, we are recording the rest of our new album. We recorded the drums, but we're recording everything else in Arizona this summer. So folks can look forward to hearing that.